The object of the game.
Hey gamers, today we're taking a look at Spyrium, a game for 2 to 5 players that plays in about an hour to an hour and a half, depending on how many people you have. It was designed by William Attia and published by Asmodee in 2013.
Spyrium. Its lovely green glow effuses your factory. With it, you've been designing wondrous things to show the Queen. But you need to move faster. Someone else just hired the last engineer in town, and another rival company upgraded their factory. If you can discover that technique and patent it, it might just give you the edge you need.
The object of the game is to win.
You win by getting the most victory points. Victory points come in various ways. All of them are indicated by the victory laurel symbol.
Setup. To set up your game, you're going to need the bits. Of course, the board, the money, Spyrium, and these blue number tokens. Make sure that these are all shuffled and upside down, because no one should know if they're 1, 2, or 3 until they come out. Next, you need to separate out your market cards. There's a period indicated on the back of them with an A, B, or C. This tells you which deck they should go in and when they will be coming into play in the game. So, separate these out into the 3 piles, shuffle them up, and stick them next to your board. Next, you're going to need the event cards, which look like so. Shuffle these as well, and place them face up onto the future event slot. Everyone should know what's coming up.
Each player chooses a color and takes the corresponding pieces to begin play. There are 4 discs, one for your start card, one for the 0 point of the score track, the 1 part of the action section, and 2 of the residence track. You have 7 workers, 3 will go on your start card, the other 4 you may earn during the game. The 2 bonus discs will be placed next to the number 8 on the scoring track as indicated by the red number. We'll go into more details later on in those. Then you take 2 Spyrium and 8 pounds. And as a final thing, you need to determine the start player. This can be done randomly. Now you're good to go.
The game is played over 6 turns. At the beginning of each turn, all players will collect income, the new event will be activated, and a new market will be created. Once these are in place, players take turns performing actions. Once all the players have passed, then the turn ends, the market is emptied, and the cycle begins anew. After 6 turns, the game is over. Just tally up the victory points and figure out who won.
Playing a turn. At the start of a turn, players collect revenue based on their placement on the housing track, which can be anywhere from 2 to 7. At the start of the game, everyone's at 2, so take 2 pounds from the bank. Next, activate the event for the turn. Move the top card from the future events to the current turn's event. This is the one you'll use for this turn. Future events shows you what's coming up next turn. One of the events has the token symbol on it, and this is that event. So you immediately take a token and place it on that card.
Next, you're going to need a market. This is made up of 9 market cards from the 3 period decks. For the first 3 turns, you're going to be using deck A. For turns 4 and 5, deck B. And for the 6th and final turn, deck C. Array these cards in a 3x3 grid, making sure to leave room for the workers that will be placed between them. For any card that has the blue token symbol on it, you'll need to be adding tokens. When it's a building, the symbol will be in the upper left-hand corner and indicate some sort of bonus you get for building that building. For people, this is going to get one fewer than the number of players in the game. This indicates the number of times that person can be used this turn, and the tokens will be removed with each usage.
All active workers should be replaced on the player's start card. Actions are taken in two phases: placement and activation. Once players choose an activation action, they can no longer go back to placement for the turn. Players take actions in turn order. In the placement phase, you may either place a worker or use the turn's event. In the activation phase, you may pull a worker to earn money or activate a card, use a building that you've previously built, use the turn's event, or pass. Place a worker. Take a worker from your start card, place it in the market in the alley between two cards. There is no limit to the number of workers that can be placed in each alley.
Using the turn's event. This action is unique in that it can be used in either phase. However, it can only be used once per player on each turn. When you go to use the event, put your fourth disc on it to signify that you can't use it again. Some events come with a cost, like here, where you have to spend pounds in order to get a new worker. Some also come with a choice. When you see these squiggly lines, you can only use one of the actions on the event card. Now we're moving into the Phase 2 actions. Once you take one of these, you can't go back to placing workers. So, to signify this, make sure you move your disc across into Phase 2. The first option is to simply gain money. To do this, remove one of your workers from the market. Then choose one of the cards that it was neighboring. So, in this case, this one or this one. I'm going to take this building because you gain 1 pound for each remaining worker surrounding it. 3 remain, and so I get 3 pounds.
Activate a card. Remove one of your workers from the market and choose which neighboring card to activate. Red's going to choose this worker and activate this character. The base cost of activating a card is 1 pound for each remaining worker surrounding it. In this case, 2. Patents and buildings have additional costs that we'll address shortly. When calling upon a character, you immediately use what is described on it. If the character has a token symbol, there must be at least 1 token remaining. In this case, there's 2, so Red can freely activate this character. This card is describing the cost in pounds based on the token you choose will increase your residency 1. So for Red to use this, have to spend 2 for the workers surrounding the card and 2 for the token he took to increase residency. So Red spends 4 and their residency goes up 1.
Acquiring a patent is very similar. Remove one of your workers from the market and choose a patent next to it. The base cost is the same, the number of remaining workers, so 2 again. Also, patents have an additional cost in the upper right-hand corner. In this case, 6 pounds for a total of 8. A bit spendy, but I think this thing's going to pay off in the long run. So, pay my 8, place the card to the left of my start card. There's no limit on the number of patents you can hold. When building a building, you place it into one of your plots to the right of your start card. The first plot is free, but each additional plot costs you pounds equal to the number of buildings you already have. So the next building will cost you an additional 1 pound, then 2, etc. If you don't want to pay for a plot, you can simply replace one of the buildings you already have. You've got the land, you just knock it down. The old building gets discarded. Even better, if the new building is an upgrade to the old one, which is noted by having at least 1 matching symbol at the top of the card, then you get a discount of 3 pounds on the new building. So this one normally costs you 6, but if I'm replacing this old laboratory, it'll only cost me 3. Of special note, anytime you claim a building with a token on it, those benefits are gained immediately. So here you would gain the 1 victory point. However, the victory points on most buildings don't come until the end of the game. If you replace them, you lose the victory points.
Use a building. Choose a building within your neighborhood with an effect that is still unused. If there are multiple effects, as in the case of this card, choose one of them. When a card is used, it should be inclined to indicate that. If necessary for the effect, workers must be spent from your start card and Spyrium from your supply. So to use this particular card, 1 worker must be spent. Red spends the worker, inclines the card, and gains 2 victory points.
Your final action of every turn will be to pass. Once you've passed, you are out of the rotation and can take no further actions until the next turn starts. However, you may not pass so long as you still have workers in the market. You'll have to take some other action to deal with those first. However, you could still have workers hanging out on your start card. Nobody cares about them. You can waste them if you want to. Strategically, better to find a use for them, but you may pass.
Here's a special note about this residency symbol. You may recall that when red got a residency earlier, they increased themselves on the residency track. That's only one of the options. The other one is to gain as many victory points as their current position on the residency track. So if green ended up picking up this residency here, they could increase like red did, or they could collect the 2 victory points because of where they are on the track.
Bonus tokens. In many games, victory points are simply a marker for who's currently winning. But in Spyrium, there's a little something extra waiting for you along the way. Once a player hits 8 points, they get to choose their first bonus token. It can either be 1 extra worker or 5 extra pounds. Once you've made your decision, then the other one moves down to 20 victory points. At that point, once you've hit 20, you get to claim your other reward.
After all players have passed, if this isn't the 6th round, things need to be cleaned up for the next turn. All cards still in the market are discarded, with the tokens put back into the token pool and shuffled around. Players put their event marker back on their start card. Straighten any buildings in their neighborhood, as well as the techniques. Take their phase markers and move them back to the phase 1, and pass the first player card to the player on the left. Now you're ready for the next turn.
After the 6th turn, add up your victory points. In addition to the ones you already have on the board, add in any buildings that have end of the game scores. So here in Blue's case he gets 6. And the scores for any of your techniques that you've patented. Each technique has a unique condition at the bottom, but a maximum of 7 points. Here, we've got 1 point per building built, so 3 more points for Blue. Once everybody's done likewise, then whoever has the highest amount of points is your winner. There are no tiebreakers, so in the case of a tie, either share victory or fight it out your own way.
Thanks for watching. If you have questions or comments, please email us at info@objectofthegame. For more videos, visit our website at Object of the Game. Note that's objectofthega.me. Thanks.